future of Ukraine. Because first of all, the future lies with the young people. There's no question about it. And it's amazing to see the difference in attitudes and abilities, if I may say, between the young people and people who have, who unfortunately for them, have spent their lives in the Soviet regime. So that's very important. And secondly, this is an institution of civil society. It is brought about by the initiative of its founders, and even though it gets state support, and I hope it will get a lot more state support in the future, particularly as the state gets a little richer, it is an independent institution, and it's very, very important because the future of Ukraine lies in the development of a civil society. So as an institution of civil society, I salute you and I support you. I'm not going to make a speech because maybe it might interest you, but frankly, I'm bored to hear myself making speeches. So rather than that, I've asked, on the occasion of my visit here, I've invited the members of the board of the Open Society Foundation of South Africa to come and travel with me and to look around Eastern Europe and the foundation, foundations that we, it's gone. Can you hear me? Yeah. So I've asked them to come accompany me and look at what the foundations are doing in the various countries. And I think they had an interesting trip. And I thought that it might be interesting for you to hear about another process of transformation that is going on in South Africa, which has some similarities, but mainly differences from the process of transformation that is going on here. I set up a foundation there because South Africa is in a transition from a racist society, a racist, a society that excludes its own majority, namely the black and colored and Indian population of South Africa, into a society which admits those people. This is a transformation that is currently occurring, I think to some extent, as a result of the transformation that has occurred here. The collapse of the communist system has, I think, played an important role in precipitating the transition in South Africa. I went there, as a matter of fact, when I set up the Open Society Foundation, the first country where I started to my activities was in South Africa, because I said, here is a racist society, a closed society, it needs to be opened up. What can one do? And I came to a conclusion, actually not much. I tried it and then I more or less abandoned it because I felt that it was so secure that it was very difficult to do anything against the regime. Whatever one did, somehow one would be co-opted by the regime. So very unfortunately, I more or less abandoned, not entirely, but I more or less abandoned my efforts there, and then I concentrated on Eastern Europe. And now I have returned there, and I found people in whom I can put my confidence to run the foundation. I've asked Van Zyl Slabbert, who is the chairman of the foundation, to talk to you about South Africa. I met him first in about, I think in 1986 or 87, when he organized a conference between the ANC, which is the black movement, and white political and mainly business leaders in in Dakar, which is in Senegal, in Africa. And that meeting I thought was helpful in starting the process moving. So that's when we first met, and then we met more recently. He had been the leader in Parliament of the main opposition party, the Progressive Party, and he resigned from Parliament because he felt nothing could be accomplished in Parliament, and set up an institution called IDASA, Institute for a Democratic Alternative in South Africa, together with Alex Borain, who's also here. And it is this institute that is actually gives home to the foundation and helps the foundation function. So he was also nominated the chairman of the media commission, or you correct me on this, what exactly it is, which a function which he fulfilled exactly for 1 week until he could get out of there because he didn't like the way he was put in there. So he's a man of very firm convictions and great energy and insight. So I will also be interested to hear your view of the transition in South Africa. And afterwards, both of us will answer questions. Yes, I think this carries, yes. No, I actually believe in, the question was, since I'm helping many different universities, did I think about uniting them into some kind of an association like the Ivy League colleges in America? Well, the Central European University is a postgraduate college. It comes after the Moihila Academy, and I hope that many of you will go there.
And some of our are there even now this year.
Yeah,
some students come to Central European University.
And there are several of you there now. And I want that to be a multinational open university. I originally started in Prague, then we set up in Budapest. So I did not want to start in Budapest because, I am Hungarian, set up an international university in Hungary. Soon it ceases to be international. But then the Prague University is not really doing too well. So I am going to concentrate the university in Budapest. But there are negotiations of setting up. We are already supporting a number of other universities, particularly there's a very nice one in Warsaw, also postgraduate university. There's one in Moscow. So there could be a network of postgraduate universities that would exchange students, faculties, have common programs, and be a university system. But I think that Moihila does not fit into that because Moihila feeds into that, you see. So, and I think Moihila should be independent. It's a Ukrainian institution. I'm very happy to help it, but it has to develop its own way. There are other similar universities that I'm helping, for instance, in Bulgaria, get together, but that is not something that I would ever dream of imposing on the university. And had I stayed there, I could say the same sad thing about me as I can say about you people who have lived here, or most of your lives here. Your life would have been, my life would have also been narrowed down. The opportunities would have been very limited. And I don't think that I would have prospered in that regime. And so as a student, I spent a lot of time thinking about these things. Then I got very involved in making a living. And I carried that, I went into business, and I carried that activity to some kind of an extreme where I made a great deal of money. And so I had financial means. And when I had more money than I really needed for myself and my family, I thought, I reflected on what I should do with it and why I should carry on. That was actually around 1979, and that is when I set up Open Society Fund. And then the first effort was actually in South Africa in 1980. And when I thought about it, what I want to do with the money, I said I would like to help bring about a social system where I'd like to live. And so that is really the motivation behind setting it up. And then I got in touch, I got to know people who were actively engaged in opposing oppression in many different ways in many different countries. That I was very inspired by what they do, and I was very happy to be able to support them. And that got me much more deeply involved. When I set up the foundation, I did not want to be very much involved personally, because I felt that my own ego should not be involved in these activities. But as I got more and more involved, this has changed. And let's say my own involvement grew with the speed with which the communist system was collapsing. So starting around 1989, I really have devoted the bulk of my time and energy to the foundation network, and I found some younger people to take over my business, and they're doing a very good job. And so my business is actually benefiting from my absence. And so I'm being rewarded for my philanthropic activities in a very strange way, which enables me to actually devote more time, money, and energy to it. So that's really why I'm doing it. I feel that I'm in a unique position because there are a lot of people who are concerned to bring about an open society. And a lot of people have devoted their lives to it, literally. But there are only, perhaps I'm the only one who has got money as well as an interest in open society. So I'm using what I've got, which is money, to promote this idea.